What's up, everybody? I'm the last one left at Fucko Land, and I have the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. And since I had it, I decided to call Mike to show him what's left of his store. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, Ryan? I'm still here just playing Doom.
Still?
Yeah, I'm just playing Doom. Actually, no, I've been playing TurboGrafx-16 games on my own, on my real TurboGrafx-16, but you've been playing them on the Mini, right?
Yeah, I have. We got this TurboGrafx-16 Mini, but actually it also serves as a PC engine. Have you been playing any of the Japanese games on your system, or?
So, yeah, I play TurboGrafx stuff from time to time on stream, and I play a lot of shooters. I am a fan of shmups, shooters, whatever, STG, whatever you want to call them. And the TurboGrafx-16 was a system that was heavy on those. So right off the bat, like, if you're not really a person who's into shooters, then you're probably not going to really be super interested in the Mini, I would imagine. Although there are some other games on it that that aren't shooters, but I think TurboGrafx-16 was kind of known as being, and PC Engine as well, known as being heavy with shmups.
Well, since you haven't seen it, I definitely want to tell you about the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. I have to say that, it comes in this very faithful box to the original. Right here, it's got the orange and black, TurboGrafx logo. It looks exactly like I remember the boxes looking in Toys R Us when I saw them as a kid. It's got a ton of games, and it's interesting. This is actually published by Konami, because I think they own a lot of the old IPs that were involved with this. It's not an NEC product like the TurboGrafx-16 was originally.
Well, I'd like to know what happened with this system and the licensing, because we know with like the NES Mini, they couldn't put Ninja Turtles or Batman on there and things like that. There are a bunch of games that are not included on this Mini that I would have liked to have had, but I wonder with this if that had anything to do with rights issues or licensing. Maybe they couldn't get some of the games, but I would think that most of these games would be pretty easy to get at this point.
Yeah, I don't think TurboGrafx is a system really known for big licensed titles. It's really more about the original IPs.
Here's the main thing I want to say about this. I just want to do this right off the bat. So I made a list of the games that are on this system that I don't think should be on it, and a list of games that I think they should have included.
I'm looking at the list, so I will comment as we go.
Okay, so here's some of the games that I think they should take off. Okay, China Warrior. China Warrior is funny for about 5 seconds because the character's really big and the guy's getting like crap thrown in his face, and it's a funny game, but nobody's gonna play that game for very long. I think that game's crap. I like shooters a lot. As I said, I'm a fan, but and I play them all the time. But Fantasy Zone, I was never a big fan of that. I think
you don't like so Fantasy Zone's more of like a cute 'em up, right?
And I love cute 'em ups. Like I love Parodius, and there's another one on there that's Star Parodier that I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I like cute 'em ups. But Sexy Parodius is a great one. Fantasy Zone, I never really liked it, but okay, there's one on here that I thought was complete garbage, but I can't pronounce it, so maybe you can help me out. It's Genpei Tumenden or something like that. Do you see that game on there?
It's interesting because a lot of the names here, they like made them more English. Like there's one called the Genji and the Heike clans.
Okay, right.
There's also Ginga Fukai Densetsu Sapphire.
Okay, well, Genga Fukai Densetsu Sapphire is a game that I own. That's a shmup that is actually a really good one. That game is very rare. It's one of the rarest games on PC Engine, and it's one of the rarest games that I own. So I think that it's fantastic that they put that on there, because the game's pretty good. It's not the best shooter, but it's a good one. And the fact that the game is so rare, people are not gonna get that game, most likely. So I think that it's great. That's a great way to get that game out to people who probably wouldn't otherwise be able to play it. So I think that one's a great choice for them to put on there. And on that same line, I'm disappointed that they don't have Bonk 3 on there. Because Bonk 3 is also a rare game. If you're going to play a Bonk game, and they have to include something that's Bonk, I mean, it's the TurboGrafx, I don't see why they don't put that on there, because with such an expensive game, that's another one that most people are not going to get the opportunity to play. Why not, put some of these more expensive games on there? The biggest example I have of this is Magical Chase. Magical Chase is not on the system, and that's like a, I don't know, $20,000 game or something like that. I don't know the exact price, but it's ridiculously expensive. It's the most, from what I know, it's the rarest TurboGrafx game, and also that game is really good. So why is that not included? Some of their choices are really odd. Let's show a little footage right now of the, I'm going to mispronounce it, but the Genpai Tomaden game. Game is super strange, and that's fine. I like obscure games. I'm a fan of games that are weird and obscure and all that stuff. I love obscure games, but that game was not good, and it's very questionable that they put that on there. Moto Rotor. I thought that game was awful.
That game is trash. The control is awful, where if you're going sideways, then up and down do things, but then you go to left and right. Like, what were they thinking with that one? It's not really great. But a racing game that I did like, and one of the few games that I liked that weren't shooters on this package, was Victory Run. Which, it's not a great game. Nobody's going to look at Victory Run and say, oh, this is an awesome game. But
I didn't like it.
But the way that you customize your car, and the way that the shifting works, and the way you take damage and stuff like that, I think it's a much deeper game than like a game like Pole Position. Yeah. Even though it's in that genre. So, like, Victory Run, I mean, I'm not buying this for Victory Run, but as somebody who drives sticks, somebody who's in the cars, something like that, that was one that I had fun messing with the customization and stuff. I never felt like I was good at it, because you run out of time. It's very arcadey, but it's something that I felt like was worth a few minutes. I think that of all of the non-shooter games in the TurboGrafx-16 lineup, Victory Run is a game that I definitely think somebody should revisit on like mobile or something, because I think it would be like, it could be cool today with modern touches to it. One thing I want to get out of the way with this is I was not a big player of TurboGrafx. I had one or two friends that had it as a kid. The most time I ever spent playing TurboGrafx prior to sitting down with this was when I was a kid, and they had end caps at Toys R Us where there'd be like Bonk or Airzonk plugged in. And, so I was learning about a lot of these games for the first time, other than like just watching other YouTubers and things like that. But I want to talk about the hardware, because you didn't have a chance to see the hardware. And I have to say that, we give Konami a lot of crap for, what they're doing with the pachinko machines and Metal Gear and other things, but this is a very quality piece of hardware that was made with love. And when I was recording the footage, I recorded the credits, because I was like, wow, there's a lot of people worked on this and did a good job. The turbo pad that comes with it was actually made by Hori, so it's not like they just farmed this out to whoever. Like an actual controller manufacturer, Hori, made it. And like the buttons, the turbo switches are really nice. The buttons are real quality. It gives like a real nice feel. You only get one, but a lot of these games aren't really multiplayer. So, but I felt like the controller felt really good. The other thing that I thought was nice is a lot of mini consoles have like a really cheaply made. Like they're not, like things don't function like the regular console does. They went through the trouble of adding this shield to the back, just like there's the AV shield on a real TurboGrafx, and it came with a nice HDMI cable, and it came with a good length USB cable, and it's just really substantial for a mini console, and I thought that was super awesome.
How's the controller cord length?
The controller cord length is amazing for a mini console, like amazing for any console. Look at all this Look at all this cord, man. It's like miles. It's solid, you know?
I like that it has a cord, because like some of these systems now, you know, will just, you know, do the wireless thing. I remember there was an At Games one at one point where it was like you know, it was like some crappy wireless like infrared shit, and it didn't work well.
But this one, when you actually get to the software, it has a lot of like special effects. Like you could change the background, you could change the theme. It has, you know, square pixel perfect mode. It has a stretch mode. It has a bunch of other graphical modes. You could turn on scan lines. You could switch between TurboGrafx-16 and the PC Engine. If you play a disc game, it actually has an animation where it shows you sticking in the controller card, and then the disc pops up and you hear the spinning sound. When you select a game that's on a Who card, they actually show the card going into the system. There's like a little animation, and it's unique for every game. And I had headphones on, I was listening to the audio, the stereo sound in these games, and it's awesome.
Well, that's good, because you're speaking of Lords of Thunder, and the soundtrack to that game is amazing, so it's good that the audio is nice.
Like, honestly, like, other than, like, if I get in a shooter mood, there's really not a lot of stuff that I would want to play.
Well, we should at least throw out that it does have Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
It does. But I think that the Vita version is probably better for one reason. And this is a reason that would normally be a Mike reason, but it's a Ryan reason this time. And that's that you could skip the cutscenes. Another thing is, I know that they weren't really going back and translating the PC Engine games, but Snatcher is unplayable if you don't speak Japanese.
So Spriggan and Spriggan Mark II, I own those games. Those are on PC Engine. So Spriggan was the first game in the Summer Carnival series. There was Spriggan, there was Rekka, there was Nexer, and there was another one. And I love that game, but it's weird. I don't know. They don't have the first one on there, but they have the second one. Is that true?
Yeah, they only have the second one. But the thing about Spriggan Mark II is it seems like it's a shooter that has like an RPG story, but I don't understand the Japanese. So yeah, it's like Macross or something like that. Like they're talking to each other, and like they're obviously like people are betraying people, and all this stuff's happening. And I can't follow along, you know?
They should have translated versions of some of these games, I think is the point. They could have put in a little extra work, and either number one, translate the games and put them on there, or don't put those games on the system and choose other games. Because I would like to get back to that a little bit, because I do have some other games. So here's my list of games. I'm just going to throw them out that are not included on the system that should be. So they have Lords of Thunder, but they don't have Gate of Thunder, which is the other one, which is similar, but it's also awesome. It's one of the best shooters on there. They don't have it. They don't have Legendary Axe. Which, when anybody talks about the TurboGrafx-16, you talk about like Keith Courage and Blazing Lasers and Legendary Axe, and like these are some of the games that people throw out. How it doesn't have Legendary Axe is bizarre to me. Metal Stoker is an awesome game. It's like you're a little like ship flying around, and it's got a really cool mechanic where essentially you can lock your ship into position where like if you want to basically it's like a strafe lock where you can like strafe right to left, or you can strafe up and down, and it's an excellent game, not on the system. Override is another really good shooter, not on the system. Cotton, now I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Cotton series. That's a really popular series, not on there. Ordine, another great game, and like I said before, Magical Chase. So some of these games, but they have China Warrior, Fantasy Zone, Moto Rotor, Space Harrier. Which I don't think I like Space Harrier in the arcade. Space Harrier in the arcade is an awesome game where you get in and you get in the chair, and the chair's rocking around and all that, and that makes the game fun.
The bottom line is Space Harrier is a Sega game. It should be in a Sega collection. Like I know it was on TurboGrafx and all that, but and that was my biggest frustration. Like once you got past the awesome shooters, There's just a lot of games on here that you'd rather play somewhere else. Like Bomberman 93, sure, but I'd rather play Bomberman somewhere else. Power Golf is the worst golf game ever. Like, I just... Can you figure out Power Golf? Do you know how?
I played it for a little bit, and I played it for maybe 3-4 minutes, and I was like, there's better golf games out there. I'd rather play golf on NES, or I'd rather play a lot of other golf games.
Dungeon Explorer, it's like, come on, like even I'd rather play Gauntlet on NES. I mean, that was like a lot of situations. Like, sure, Lords of Thunder, awesome. Soldier Blade, awesome, great. But R-Type. Wouldn't you rather play like any other R-Type game?
If you're gonna play any R-Type, you really want to play the arcade. So
I will tell you a version that is popular on another console that surprised me, and that's Gradius on PC Engine is way better than the NES version.
Oh yeah, really great game. But the thing about I find with the original on there is that all of the bosses in the first Gradius are all just the same like spaceship over and over and over.
Right.
Once you've played R-Type or once you've played like Gradius 3, you have such more variety in bosses and like there's alien creatures and it looks like stuff from Alien, and, you know, just like awesome stuff. Then you go back and you play the original Gradius, and I find it kind of dull now. I feel like that game got better in the later versions, and probably the best version of Gradius is Gradius 5 on PlayStation 2. That game's amazing. So the point of that, me bringing that up, is it's really hard for me now to go back and play the original Gradius. So it probably should be on there. I don't think it's a bad choice to have on this system, but there's other Gradius games I'd rather play.
Oh, there's something I wanted to say about Rondo of Blood. I love in the beginning of Rondo of Blood how you go through one of the cities from Castlevania 2, but then it's got so much that then goes into Symphony of the Night. So really, like, Rondo of Blood is the bridge between the old Castlevanias and the new ones. And, not a lot of people have experienced it. So this is probably, like, the easiest way outside of the, like, PlayStation and Vita ones to experience it. But the original graphics, you start seeing the cues and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting system because I guess the idea is that it'll be on shelves in Best Buy and things like that, or Target and stuff like that. And I just wonder, kids are going to look at this, and I think that this is a product that's more like, like for dads kind of. I remember the TurboGrafx-16 and Bonk. I'll pick that up. I think. This is like a nostalgia item, I guess, like, especially this one, like more so than the NES. Like NES, the Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini, those ones, they have Mario, and Mario's still like viable, but like nobody's talking about Bonk anymore.
I mean, nobody's talking about any of this. And that's why like I kind of feel really bad about this console, because like there's some stuff that's cool in here. But to a new generation, to a modern generation, like this console doesn't change anything. Like we're not gonna look back on this 10 years from now and say, boy, the TurboGrafx-16 Mini changed anything. This is literally just about money and just about nostalgia. I don't think that it's gonna make any impact on future gamers. I could say if you have your heart set on playing TurboGrafx-16, this is so much a better choice than trying to find an old one that works, and all these games are expensive. Like, there's not really a lot of cheap games on TurboGrafx. So, like, if you really, really want to play TurboGrafx games and an emulator won't do it for you, and you want this, like, super solid, super faithful package, like, it's great. But my question, like you said, is how many people really want that? Probably not that many.
I wouldn't get this, but I wouldn't get any of the mini consoles. I like to play the stuff on the original hardware, mostly because of the monitor that you look at on. You were telling me, because I don't have the actual system, you were saying that you can only hook this up with a HDMI cable. You and I did a video a while back on the Analog NT, and they sent us an Analog NT. Now that thing is like $500 or something, but on the back of that, they have HDMI and RGB and S-video and AV, like every kind of connection you could possibly want. Now, I know for price, they would not be able to, put connections for RGB and all that. That's why that thing is so expensive. That's a high quality, really high quality product. But I don't see, why can't they at least put AV on there too? Because if like
to be fair, let's say you are that nostalgic guy who went out and, you lived your life and then you're like, oh, I remember TurboGrafx-16. Do you have a TV that has AVs? Like if I go to Best Buy right now, buy a TV, and that TV is over 40 inches, it might not even have AVs, right? So now I'm going on eBay, but by the time I'm going on eBay and buying monitors and stuff, then I want the real one, right?
That's the thing. Like if you're the kind of guy like me who wants it to have, if you want to play it on a CRT, guess what? Then you're not going to be using the Mini either because you want a real TurboGrafx-16.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. I mean, I'm sitting in a room right now that there's 2 PVMs and 4 Commodore monitors in, so it's like.
I mean, yeah, me too. Another game that everybody talks about with TurboGrafx-16, JJ and Jeff. What the fuck?
Why
is up with JJ and Jeff? They're the strangest characters, and you're playing the game, and literally, you're like going in and out of like public bathrooms and shit.
Yeah, JJ and Jeff, that game concerns me. I just have to.
And you walk, and then you get to like a stump, and then it's like you don't know what to do, and then you fumble around for a while, and then it's like it seems more like an NES game, like a shitty NES game to me. It has that.
Yeah, it's definitely got the like wisdom tree vibe, but creepy.
Jeff is like AVGN material type game.
No, I was playing that game, and flat out, I'm like, this should be an AVGN episode.
Or Newtopia, and Newtopia 2, they are Zelda clones, and
yeah.
I have this. It's a Zelda clone, so love Zelda. Zelda's great, but if you want to play Zelda, you know what game you should play, Ryan?
Zelda.
The
thing about Newtopia that makes the game bad, like the control's actually not that bad, and in Newtopia 2 you can attack on diagonals, right? But like. You go in all the caves, and it's just talk to this guy, talk to this guy, talk to this guy. Like, how many fucking caves do you need to have?
You have like 30 or so, 40 games, whatever, however many are on this thing, 40 games or something to show for what the TurboGrafx-16 has, and you're going to put on a Zelda clone? That kind of makes the system out to look shitty, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely... like I played the games in the order they're on the box because that's the order they were. So I went Alien Crush, Blazing Lasers. I'm like, that's good. And then I played Dungeons and Explorer, Motor Rotor, Power Golf, the original R-Type. If you go from Alien Crush and Blazing Lasers to those 3, you just want to kill yourself.
Yeah. Wait a second. Maybe I didn't hear you earlier. Can you not do 2 players games?
It has 2 USB ports, but people are scalping these things on eBay for $200. Where are you going to find the second controller? So what I didn't try, and what we probably need to look into, is can you plug any USB controller into this?
Oh, that I don't know. If you can, then that's great. If you can't, that's a problem that it doesn't come with 2 controllers.
Because where am I gonna find this? Today.
Like Superstar Soldier, I would play. Maybe Gradius, but I'd probably play one of the other ones.
You're not playing the Kung Fu?
No. Oh, you know what? I might play Chu Man Fu actually.
Yeah,
that's about it. There is a Ninja Gaiden game on here, and I had played it on stream, and I beat it, and it's actually really good. Okay, so here is the Ninja Gaiden game on PC Engine. So what's really cool is that they actually include a bunch of the CD games. So here's something for you. A lot of the, I own a lot of the original games. Now, the original TurboGrafx games were on HuCards, but then later there was the attachment for the CD, the TurboGrafx CD, and then on PC Engine, see, I use a Turbo Duo, which also has a CD like system on it. I didn't realize that this Mini was gonna even have CD games on it, and one of the selling points about this actually is the fact that it has these CD games on there, because so sometimes I'll use an EverDrive. It makes it easy on stream to get through games instead of getting out the actual like cards and cartridges and things like that. The EverDrive for the TurboGrafx-16 doesn't have, you can't play CD games on it, so you have to own the original games, which I do. I own a lot of the PC Engine CD games, but the fact that this thing isn't just the HuCard games, that's a huge selling point, because you can actually play a lot of these games, and I don't own all of these CD games, like Star Parodier, I don't actually own that game on CD, and you can't play it on the EverDrive, so like, there you go. So here's Gengafu Kaiden Setsu Sapphire. This is a CD game. Now, you'll see on
Is that sealed?
No, I've opened it. It's just in the package. So it says Arcade CD-ROM 2 on here. There was like a small handful of games where you could not play the games unless you owned this, which is also rare. This is a card that you put into your like Turbo Duo or TurboGrafx, so that you can run certain games like Gengafu Kaiden Setsu Sapphire. How nice is it if you have the Mini that you can just put the fucking thing on and play it? You cannot play this game on an EverDrive. So right there, just to be able to play Gengafu Kaiden Setsu Sapphire without having to buy this thing, which is like $100, and then this game, which is like over $1,000. It's just for that, it's worth buying, but you need that second controller.
Yeah, so your only choices to play that game are you could buy this thing, or you could spend like $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. So literally right there, it's worth buying. I don't know how I feel about this thing. I'm very split down the middle. I guess there's a lot of reasons to own it, and there's a lot of reasons to be frustrated with it.
I feel like if I had to summarize, I feel like Konami did a damn good job bringing this to market, and everybody who worked on it obviously gave a crap about how it's coming out. If you're a fan of 5 of the games on here, you probably should consider buying it if you don't have another means to play them. A lot of mini consoles turn out much worse compared to the PlayStation. Now, if I was stuck, I'd rather have the PlayStation one because there's more games I want to play. But just on the merits of the hardware and software, this is like 1,000 times better than the PlayStation Mini.
Also, since I don't have it there in person, is that box, is it like bigger than the other ones?
Oh yeah, like
Here, I'll hold it up so you can see it.
Oh wow.
yeah.
That almost looks like, is that like literally as big as the real TurboGrafx?
It's like 80% or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so we tried sticking an actual HuCard in, and it's a little bit too small to fit. But like, so the scale, it's probably like 70 or 80%, like I was saying. Like it's almost the size.
All right, TurboGrafx-16 Mini, a lot of reasons to own it. Some things that are a problem with it, but overall, probably worth it.